We're going to get everything cleaned up with a Mahindra 1635 Shuttle Shift tractor, a Rad Technologies 54-inch snowblower made in Thetford Mines, Canada, and a Worksaver 72-inch snow pusher. Even though it's undercover with a nor'easter, we still got some blow in here. So cold start, I'm going to preheat it. So the one thing about these snow pushers is that they're a little bit top heavy on the back right, and that's because you've got the quick hitch on there, and so there's a lot of weight right over here, and so the center of gravity is a little higher than you'd probably like. And if you don't get this set just right, this thing's gonna flop over, and then you gotta wangle it back into position and then get it hooked on. And you gotta be careful when you put these on, because you'll get snow and debris in here, and if you don't have a clear contact with your quick attach carrier to your attachment, and you get just that little bit of buildup, then your locking handles aren't going to go in the hole correctly. So you got to make sure you get all that debris out of there. I had a little bit of packed in snow up under here, and these are all in pretty tight tolerances for the quick hitch on the front. But you want to make sure that seat's good and tight, and then the levers here are locked down. And so I put some WD-40 dry lube on those yesterday, so those are good and operational. This is on, and it's time to go to work. So I had someone ask me about these PTOs, and you want to be careful when you engage it. So you want the throttle, which is here actually. I've got a foot throttle too. But you want that throttle kicked all the way back to low RPM when you start this, otherwise you're going to put a tremendous amount of torque on that drive line. So you want to start low throttle, turn your PTO on. This one you just push down and turn it, and then once it starts turning you can rev up with the throttle then. Some snow blowers have a hydraulic rotation on the chute. This one has a manual, and you can adjust it with stop nut here, adjust it up or down, and then side to side, whichever way you need to go. Snowblower to get close to the buildings and in some blind corners that I can't push the snow out of, but then I mostly just use the snow pusher and shove it down the driveway. Now this tractor could hold a much bigger, or operate a much bigger blower than the 54-inch, but I bought the blower for a different tractor, and so I already had it, so I'm not going to go buy another one. But I am quite positive that a 35-horse tractor would easily run a 60-plus inch blower. See the box blade filling up, and that's okay. We'll get the edges later. Now, I don't run chains on the front of my tractors, and some people will, and that's entirely optional. I'm sure there's a lot of good reasons for that, but something's got to slip. And if you have those front wheels gripping on both sides, you're going to end up doing some damage to your front end. So I want everything to slip a little bit. So I made the first pass, and now I'm going in fourth gear. These box scrapers, you want to float the bucket. You want to figure out where the spot is, where the front and the back of that bucket are floating like this on the ground. So you don't want it to peel down, you don't want it to peel up, you want it to be floating on the ground. So it's hard to see because the background is white, but that bucket is full. We're going to shove that right down. So I just got a couple ridges in the middle that I got no place to push it, so we're going to snow blow those over into the field. We can usually hustle right along with cleanup because it's not very deep, and so you'll know if you're going too fast because either the tractor will lug down or the snowblower will have snow coming over the housing there, so you'll know either way. When you're backing up, make sure you're watching your bucket. because I just barely missed that gate because I was looking behind me. So with an open station tractor, no matter which way you turn the auger, you're going to end up getting soaked, covered in snow. With a cab tractor, you know, at least you got a windshield wiper and a defroster. With these tractors right here, you got, you know, open station tractor. You can have either manual rotate, manual deflector, or you can get hydraulic. It just depends on how many remotes you have, or you can hook up an electric actuator with the control back there. Last thing you want to do before you put these away is get under here and clean all this stuff out, because right now it's nice and fluffy snow, but if the weather changes and that turns to ice, you could end up just snapping the shear bolt before you even get started. So it's always a good idea to clean your machinery off when you're done and just check everything and make sure you're not missing any bolts or anything. But otherwise it looks pretty good. So I'm going to put this away. So you don't have to get super fussy with it, but just make sure all the moving parts, everything that's supposed to move, does before you park it. And it's best to shut the tractor off and disengage it before you do that. A lot of these bigger tractors, you can turn the PTO on and still get off the seat and do stationary work. So if you've got one of those tractors, it's even more important to make sure you shut that all down before you stick your hands in there, because you lose an arm or a leg or worse.